People that play the system eventually get burned. That's the topic we're going to be discussing here today, live. So stick around for all that and much, much more that's coming right. Live from Northern California, welcome to Navigating the Modern World with Coach Eli. And if this is your first time here, and most importantly, you are open to suggestions and change, please consider subscribing and then banging that bell so that way you won't miss a single thing when it comes to getting a better grip on your life. That's right. I am here to help as many people as possible that are open to the help get the best possible grip on their lives so that way you can all accomplish whatever it is that your hearts desire, right? That's what we're here to do. Nothing but love and positivity. Mutt Nuts World says, sorry, he had stepped away, back now. Great, Mutt. Thank you for being here. I'm sure you know how to handle that mod wrench, right, Mutt? You know how to handle that moderator wrench on the YouTube side of things because, you know, we're gonna have some people stop on by and, try to give us a piece of their mind. And if it's constructive, we'll let them stay. If not, you're gonna hammer them, right? Mutt, that's why you've been blessed with that mod wrench, right? Well, before we get started, let me just make sure once again that the notification has gone out. And it looks like it has gone out on YouTube. Let me also check out the back end of YouTube and make sure that everything is rolling smoothly. And yes, it is. And once again, today we are also simulcasting live on Facebook. And let me just check that aspect as well. Give me just a second here. And make sure that everything is rolling. We are also simulcasting live on Facebook. And let me just check that aspect as well. Give me just yes, rolling here. Quite well on my beautiful iPhone 12 Pro Max. So it looks like we are ready to rock and roll. All right. But before we even get started, I would like to once again pay special props to this channel sponsor. That's none other than the great Troy Brewer, who owns an amazing marketing company called the Discover Community Network. He is the CEO, founder, and owner of the Discover Community Network, and he can help you with all of your marketing needs. You can also find more information on some amazing products and services for all of your product and service needs from the most trusted professionals in the industry. Please consider visiting www.discovercommunitynetwork.com. One more time, that's www.discovercommunitynetwork.com. You can also visit a subsidiary of the Discover Community Network known as the DCN Internet Radio Network. And when you go on that website, you are going to find a bunch of talk and music internet radio stations. And more than likely, one of those talk or music internet radio stations will suit your talk or music genre needs. So if you enjoy listening to talk or music internet radio throughout the course of your days, please consider checking out www.dcninternetradionetwork.com. One more time, that's www.dcninternetradionetwork.com. Both of those links are below in the description, about a third of the way down on the YouTube side of things. And if you go to those websites and you also find out how to connect with Troy, and you send him an email or you arrange a phone call with him, please do not fail to mention that Coach Eli sends you, as always, with lots and lots of love. All right. We are good to go. We are ready to rock and roll. Okay. So today's show is something, it's a topic that's very, very near and dear to my heart. And I want to start off by saying that I'm not here to whine and complain. I'm not here to be angry or bitter based on my experiences regarding this topic, but rather I'm here to share my thoughts, such as many others have shared lately, regarding a bunch of things recently that have happened that involve people playing the system. And before I get to the specifics I'm going to talk about, because I'm going to be going over 4 articles today, I plan on being here probably for about, I'd say probably at least an hour to an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours at the most. It's going to take a while to go through because I'm going to be discussing what's been going on with this GameStop stock and the online trading site Robinhood, and my thoughts on what's been happening regarding that, and my thoughts on the CEO's reaction, the CEO of Robinhood's reaction. He was actually interviewed on a bunch of mainstream media outlets, including CNN. Chris Como interviewed him live on the air, and this dude is a young guy. I don't know if he's in his 20s or early 30s. I mean, he looks really young. I believe his name is Vlad. And he just looks so uncomfortable doing that interview. And quite frankly, I mean, any normal, smart, and intuitive human being could pick up that he was full of it. And he didn't know what to say, and he was told what to say by his attorneys. And if it had been his choice, he probably would have not wanted to go and interview on all these mainstream media outlets live. But his attorneys probably told him to do that and be proactive about it because it would more so come off believable, like they're not trying to do something shady, which we all know. If you've been following the story, it's one of the most shady things that I've seen in quite some time regarding our financial services industry. And I'll be sharing more about that in a little bit here. I'm going to be explaining to you folks what hedging is. If you don't know what it is, it's a particular type of investment. We're also going to be talking about everything you need to know about how a Reddit group blew up GameStop stock, how a bunch of just everyday average investors like you and me decided to take action when they heard about what these, big time, companies were doing to, hedge against, looking at GameStop's trend of trending downward. I'm also going to be discussing a class action lawsuit filed against Robinhood following outrage over GameStop stock restriction. Very interesting. That's the latest as of yesterday. And then I'm going to wrap up the show and discuss something that I wanted to discuss for a little while. But today is the right day regarding this because of the topic, people playing the system and just getting away with, breaking the law or doing things that are unconstitutional or not, setting the best example as a government official. I'm going to be talking about Marjorie Taylor Greene. I'm sure you've heard about her. It's an article that's on CNN Politics called Marjorie Taylor Greene Boasts of Great Conversation with Trump Amid Calls for Her Ouster. Obviously, the Democrats want her out for certain things that she said on Twitter before getting into office. So that's a pretty interesting topic right there. So that's what we're going to be discussing here today. But let me just check out the chat on both Facebook and YouTube and just make sure everything is up to date. Hey, Mutt, can you do me a favor? Can you please, I know you're pretty busy, but until we get some other moderators coming in, can you please moderate the chat? That way I don't need to moderate it and I can focus on my show here. So give me just 1 second here. Let me know if you're still around, Mutt. I would greatly appreciate that. Everything's caught up on the YouTube side of things, and nobody's chatting on Facebook. No one's on Facebook. Okay, maybe that will change. I know some people on Facebook showed up at the last minute and asked me some questions that I responded to after the stream ended. So hopefully, maybe you folks will come back, and I'd be happy to answer any questions throughout this show. So today's stream is going to be more of a business stream. I am a business and personal relationship success life coach. And, part of, being successful in your personal life also involves you being successful in your business life. And I'm here to talk about and share topics that, affect people globally. Give you some insight on how to better tackle and handle these situations based on my opinions and past experiences. So that is that. Nuts World says, sorry, didn't see them pop in. Had to answer the door. UPS. No problem, Mutt. No problem. No problem. Okay. All right, we've got 14. The people are fluctuating, here on the YouTube side of things. We've got 12 to 14 people here on YouTube and one on Facebook. Thank you so much for spending your Saturday afternoon / early evening with Coach Eli. The topic of today's stream is people that play the system are running out of options and held accountable. How this affects you. One more time. People that play the system are running out of options and held accountable. How this affects you. I'm going to briefly share how it's affected me throughout my entire life in regards to dealing with people that have played the system to get ahead. And typically, when I say people play the system, they are either skirting the law or they're breaking the law, knowingly breaking the law, but they know how to break the law in a way where more often than not, they're not going to be punished for it. Or if they're caught, they're going to get a slap on the wrist and nothing's going to happen. And that's part of the problem I see, in my opinion, with people that play the system to get ahead and actually, do seem to be getting ahead doing that, is that there's no accountability. There hasn't really been a whole lot of accountability regarding, many aspects of people playing the system to get ahead. So these people get ahead while good, wholesome people like myself that have morals, values, and ethics and do everything, legally, and honestly and genuinely, we have to work a lot harder and we get left behind. And our chances, of being more successful than we already are far less because we're not willing to play the system, right? And I'll tell you, I've encountered people in my life, even out here on YouTube throughout the past 4 years, but even in my past life, that have tried to get me to do certain things that were going to help them get further ahead and help me get further ahead. But the things they were trying to get me to do were either borderline skating the legal line or crossing the legal line. And when I would, share with these people that I feel this sounds kind of like breaking the law, they've gotten back to me and said, well, it's really not breaking the law. It's kind of like pushing it to the limit and nothing's going to happen. I've been doing this for a while. Like, I don't fall for that. I don't fall for that. Even if it's something that could get me ahead further or make me more money quicker, I would rather not make as much money knowing that I'm abiding by all the laws than, push the law, skirt the law to the line or push the law to try and get ahead. Because, see, I'm the kind of person that, whenever I've tried to push something in my younger days, even legitimately tried to push something in my younger days, I've always paid the price for it. It just seems like the good people like myself, if we even try to play the system, which I typically don't, we always end up, getting caught or we get punished for it, while the other people that have been doing it for a while and benefiting from it continue to get away with it. And that's what really makes me tired and sick and tired of people that play the system. So anyway, give me just a second here. So I'm going to start off by switching over to the browser source. And we're going to go over this first article. And I'm first going to explain to you folks what hedging is, because it's kind of complicated, but you need to understand what this is first before I can get to the rest of the information and share my thoughts about what's really been going on lately with this GameStop stock and, the Robinhood, online trading company, what they did to stop trading. We'll get into that in just a second. But first, what is hedging? Hedging can help you protect your investments from losses. Okay. Hedging refers to buying an investment designed to reduce the risk of losses from another investment. So you hedge one bet against the other, or one risk against the other, right? If one doesn't do well, the other one typically will do well. It will offset it, right? Okay. Investors will often buy an opposite investment to do this, such as using a put option to hedge against losses in a stock position, since a loss in the stock will be somewhat offset by a gain in the option. Minimal risk that can bring you a big reward depending on, how much you risk through hedging. How hedging works. There are several ways to hedge your investments, and one common method is with derivatives or futures contracts. For example, if you own shares of a stock, you could buy an out-of-the-money put option to protect yourself in the event that the stock's price declines dramatically. A broader example of this would be shorting a stock index through futures in order to protect your entire portfolio from the effects of a market correction. Okay? So far, you with me? Pretty cut and dry. Or if you want to invest in one company to protect yourself from industry weakness, you can buy that company's stock while simultaneously shorting one of its weaker competitors. Let me read that one more time. And you tell me how that sounds to you. Or if you want to invest in one company to protect yourself from industry weakness, you can buy that company's stock while simultaneously shorting one of its weaker competitors. In essence, you're basically almost putting the competitor out of business by, hedging in that way. It's kind of like, in my opinion, it's kind of like a shady thing to do. And there are a lot of big time investors that have been doing these types of investments, and they've been winning dramatically. They've been making a lot of money doing this, while the average everyday investor like myself or yourself, are losing because of this, right? So the point is that there are lots of potential ways you can hedge your investments, as long as one asset can be reasonably expected to go up in value when the other goes down. In practice, hedging doesn't usually eliminate risk altogether, known as a perfect hedge. Rather, it is used to lessen the impact of an otherwise devastating event. Okay, now pay attention closely. Here's where it gets more interesting. Think of hedging like buying car insurance. Sure, you'll still have to pay a deductible if you need to use it, and you may be without your car for a little while, but it is a better outcome than not having it at all. The insurance premiums are the cost of reducing the risk, and if you don't use your insurance, that money is gone. Yeah, it's reinvested back into the insurance company's portfolio, and it's used for other claims. But what happens is when you pay into insurance, to an insurance company, and let's say you never use your insurance, that money gets reinvested and it's making more money. It's basically money that's just sitting there. So basically what insurance is a promissory note that, hey, should this happen after you pay your deductible, which could be $100, $500, $1,000, whatever it is, we will pay the rest of, the claim if we deem it's an actual claim, if something happens to your house, they'll replace your house. If something happens to your car, they'll replace your car or they'll repair your car minus the deductible. Okay? An example of a hedge. Let me check out the chats real quick before we continue here. Okay, nothing happening on the YouTube side of things. On Facebook, we have Stephanie's in the house. I like your point. I've noticed that Trump was really good at pushing the law. Absolutely, Stephanie. How are you doing? Welcome to the show on the Facebook side of things. She says furthermore, however, anything that happened to you was probably more your belief system than an actual universe punishment. It wasn't karma. It was just your belief. Okay. That's a good point. That's a good point. I mean, I'm not coming out here trying to say that I've been a victim of the system or anything like that. What I'm saying is that there are many people out there that have created their success playing the system and either borderline pushing the law or breaking the law and getting away with it because they know how to cover their tracks, right? But I'm also here to say that, anyone that plays a system in that way after a while, they get a little cocky and they push it even further, and then they end up paying the price. So is it the right thing to play the system in the first place? In my opinion, no. In my opinion, I'd rather do things the right way, work harder, take a little bit longer to accomplish what I want to accomplish, and make it more sustainable long term, knowing that I'm not going to end up in a jail cell or get fined heavily for breaking the law. But Stephanie says I'm good. Great. Thanks for being here, Stephanie. Just so you know, we're also on the YouTube side of things on my Grip on Life channel. So if you want to check that out and subscribe there, you can. It's a little more hopping over on the YouTube side of things. We have 12 people on the YouTube side. But again, thank you for being here. So, an example of a hedge. Let's say that you buy 500 shares of Citigroup because you think the banking sector is going to perform well over the next few years. As of this writing, Citigroup trades for about $44.50. So this investment would cost $22,250. Right, so it's 500 times 44.50 per share, right? Let's say you feel that this investment is a little risky right now given what's going on in Europe, so you decide to hedge your position by purchasing 5 put option contracts that allow you to sell your shares for $40 at any time before January 2017. This is an older article. So don't mind the dates here. Just listen to the information, the example. The options premium you pay is $180 per contract. So 5 contracts would cost $900. Now, if Citigroup fell to $30 per share by the end of 2016, your initial investment would be worth $15,000. So your initial investment would have gone down from $22,250 to $1,500. For a loss of $7,250. However, your put options would have an intrinsic value of $5,000 in this scenario. Subtracting the $900 you paid for the contracts would result in a profit of $4,100. So your hedge would have resulted in an overall loss of $3,150. Still significant, but much better than the 7,250 you would have lost if you didn't hedge. So in essence, you're risking a decent amount of money on a very good chance that you're going to make some money or make a lot of money. But if you lose, your losses are not going to be as much as they typically would have been had you not hedged. That's the bottom line. Well, let me read the bottom line here on this article. The bottom line, not all investments need to be hedged. If you're confident about your stocks over the long run, there's generally no need to spend money on hedging instruments. On the other hand, if one of your stocks has shot up higher than you thought it would, or you make a trade in the hopes of a short-term profit, hedging strategies may be a good idea for you in order to limit your downside risk. Typically, people that hedge do it for short-term, quick profit. That's the bottom line. So that's what hedging is. Let me check out the chat real quick here. Hey, Moonchild, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being here. I have never bought stocks. Interesting. Yes, I have stocks, and I have a 401k. So I understand all of this. Let me check out Facebook real quick. Stephanie says, oh, yeah, absolutely. Yes, greed is a problem. That's what it all boils down to, Stephanie. It's about the rich getting richer and the poor getting poorer. This is one of those situations that's been happening lately with this GameStop stock. It's about the rich getting richer and having more control over the market and having all control over the market, and the poor getting poorer, or the average everyday investor like you and me not having a fair opportunity because the market is rigged and fixed. And that's what I feel, a Robinhood was doing here. And they're trying to cover it up, but I have a feeling they're going to be in some big, big trouble with the SEC, which is the Securities and Exchange Commission. And there's also FINRA, which is what regulates the financial services industry. And if they do absolutely nothing to address this, if FINRA and the SEC do nothing to address, this with Robinhood and other trading companies that did the same thing when this GameStop stock started going up, then I'm going to lose pretty much most, if not all, faith in the system. Something needs to be done here about this. And there are many people that are very unhappy about this. Now, typically, here's the funny part. Typically, you would have, this would be more of something that would upset conservatives, and more conservatives would be talking about this, but I'm a slight left liberal that's more down the middle. And to be honest with you, I agree with you conservatives on this. You see, we can agree on certain things that make sense, right? Right? I like what Stephanie said. Yes, greed is a problem. It absolutely is. Moonchild on the YouTube side of things says, thanks. Nuts World says, we almost got that one at the same time. Oh, that's cool, Mutt. No big deal. No big deal. I know you step away from time to time, and I know Moonchild doesn't know how to moderate yet. We have to teach her how to moderate. She'll be able to handle the chat. No worries. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read one more article here. I'm going to switch over. It's called Everything You Need to Know About How a Reddit Group Blew Up GameStop Stock. Then I'm going to step away and take a quick break, come back, and talk about the class action lawsuit that's now being filed against Robinhood, which is right here. And then we're going to also talk about Marjorie Taylor Greene. Oh, boy. Oh, our government is so messed up. I say that respectfully, but man, I have never seen such a division, not only with our government, but our entire country here in the U.S. ever before. I think there's a greater divide in the U.S. with our government and our citizens than ever before in any time throughout history. And it's just really sad. I hope it changes. I hope good old Joe can fix it. He's certainly going to try. He is certainly going to try. All right. So this is from CNN Business. I'll be sharing all of the links to these articles in the description section of YouTube after the show. So if you're on Facebook and you want to get these links, you're going to have to come over to my YouTube channel. Just YouTube search A Grip on Life. You'll see my channel, and then subscribe, and then you can check out the video there and go in the description once the replay pops up, and you'll be able to check out these articles on your own. But yeah, the title is Everything You Need to Know About How a Reddit Group Blew Up GameStop's Stock. It was written by Allison Morrow, CNN Business, and it was updated yesterday, or actually not yesterday, Thursday, a few days ago at 6:40 a.m. Eastern. Let's check it out. All right. The GameStop frenzy on Wall Street has investors and much of the internet enraptured, not unlike a good horror movie. I'd rather watch a horror movie than this, and I'm not really into horror movies. Everyone knows doom is just around the corner for some key players. That's true. There's only one side's going to win. Either the people hedging or the other side, the average everyday investors like you and me, right? A lucky few will emerge stronger and the monster might be subdued, but will ultimately come back for a sequel. That's true. When this is all said and done, this whole Robinhood, GameStop, hedging, ordeal is done. They'll go back to doing business as usual, and the same thing will keep on happening. Hopefully, this will prompt the SEC, the Securities and Exchange Commission, to, crack down on this and create some other regulations regarding this. But we'll see. I doubt it, but we'll see. The cast of characters. Who's the monster and who's the hero? In this case, depends entirely on your perspective. Yeah. If you're a big-time corporate investor, and you're hedging, large amounts of money to make a quick buck, then, then you're thinking that you're the hero here. Or if you're the group of people that found out about this and decided to buy a ton of GameStop stock to offset this, maybe you're the hero. Maybe there really is no hero here. Maybe this is all about the principle of the matter, right? Let's continue and find out. On one side, you have a band of mostly young day traders who coordinate on Reddit to drive up the share price of struggling companies, including GameStop, but also BlackBerry, Macy's, and AMC. At least one Reddit user posted that he'd paid off thousands of dollars in student loans with his GameStop gains. Wow. That's interesting. It's very interesting. Excuse me, had to clear my throat for a second. Give me just 1 second here. Centuries of the century. I have a feeling you're a troll, but you're actually asking a legitimate question, so I'll answer it. Our country is in shambles right now. Truly scary times. It is. It absolutely is. And one of the main reasons why I feel it's in shambles is because, our government, our Congress, just can't get along. Right? And, it just seems like one side of our Congress, and I'm not saying that the Democratic side is doing a better job because I'm slightly more on the left and a Democrat. I just think they're more about doing the right thing with morals, values, and ethics. It seems like the right side of things, the conservative side, the Republican side, is basically throwing away morals, values, and ethics to protect their interest in office because they feel if they, go against Trump in this upcoming trial or against this, Marjorie chick, they're not going to have a good chance of, having a future political career beyond what they have right now. It's pretty sad. So yeah, our country is in shambles right now. And these times are truly scary. They are centuries of the century. So thank you for your comment there. All right. Back to Facebook. Nothing happening over there. Let's continue. Something else just popped up. I understand you have been trolled, but you do need to give people a chance before accusing them of being a troll. I'm not accusing you of being a troll. What I'm saying is that you are somebody that knows me, and I can tell that by the way you wrote your message and by the name of your channel. So I'm not accusing you, sir. But I do know you're here on a sock account, and you're not here on your main account because it's probably banned. Anyway, Muttonut's World says here, net kicking in and out due to us getting another ice storm. It is possibly going to turn to snow by morning. Wow. Well, Mutt, I hope that the storm passes and doesn't create any damage and doesn't knock out your power or your internet. So, anyway, let's continue here. All right. At least one Reddit user posted that he paid off thousands of dollars in student loans with his GameStop gains. Just read that. Interesting. Okay. On the other, you have hedge funds and short sellers. Those who place bets that a company stock will crash. These are Wall Street elite, the sort of investors millions of people rely on to make the smart decisions that boost their portfolios. But they're detested by many millennials and Gen Zers for creating a house of cards financial system that led to the 2008 crisis. I'm not a millennial, but I'll agree with that. For one of the few times in my life, I'll agree with the millennials and Gen Zers on this particular instance. You folks are right about this. Good job. We're now potentially at the climax of this movie. GameStop is up more than 1,700% since the start of January. That's ridiculous. It really is. But I'm glad it happened because it's teaching these greedy people a lesson. Some trading platforms, including TD Ameritrade and Robinhood, are restricting trades on AMC and GameStop. Boy, I wonder why. It's affecting your company and people that may own parts of your company or people that are hedging things and they also support your company. Like there's this company, what's it called? Citadel, I believe. I believe they own part of Robinhood. So do you not think for a second that the reason why trading was halted on Robinhood was because of Citadel? I believe that's what their name is. Yeah. Yep, it is Citadel. That's what this is all about. Some of us have had a change of heart, but got to protect ourselves at this point. Well, I don't really like dealing with anonymous people. Centuries of the century. I don't. But hey, as long as you're cool, you can stick around. Not a big deal. I'm just saying that, protect yourself from who? Trolls? Just ignore them. Ignore them. They're all getting kicked off of social media anyway. If you haven't noticed, ever since Trump lost re-election, the purge on the internet has happened against hateful people. Moonshot says, yeah, it's no fun when power goes out in winter. That means heat goes out too. I hear you. All right, let's continue here. The SEC and the White House on Wednesday both said they were monitoring the situation. So the SEC and the White House, Biden and his administration as well, are monitoring the situation. But what are we going to do about it? SEC and Joe, what are we going to do about it? Something has to be done here. Here's the background you need to know. Why GameStop? The popular Reddit page Wall Street Bets is fond of targeting short sellers. If you've ever played craps, these are the guys betting against the table, and their tactics, while often lucrative, have burnished their reputation as bloodsuckers and other unpunishable names. More on that later. Yeah, they're greedy as hell. It is not hard to understand why someone would short GameStop. However, the company is expected to lose money this year and next. So these hedgers, they saw that GameStop was expected to lose money this year and the next year because of the fact that things are more so, going online. And so, and also with COVID, less people are going out and shopping, and they're purchasing things online, right? Through Amazon and other, distributors. Sales growth is sluggish because gamers no longer need to go to the mall to buy games or consoles. Right. You can order it online, have it shipped next day or 2 days. Why leave your place ever, right? Well, get some exercise and stay healthy and fit, but you know what I'm saying. That said, some investors have argued that GameStop was seriously undervalued. I don't know if they were seriously undervalued, but maybe a little bit undervalued. And everyone's been struggling since the pandemic. The pandemic has slowed down sales in person, but online sales have skyrocketed. You think Amazon's losing any money, or do you think Amazon is now making more money than they've ever had? Think about that. So that says some investors have argued that GameStop was seriously undervalued, especially when video games have become staples of the stay-at-home pandemic era. People can play games online. They can also purchase their games through other outlets. The GameStop stock surge began for a legitimate reason. The company announced on January 11th it had added 3 new directors to its board, including Chewy co-founder Ryan Cohen. Investors liked that Cohen brought digital experience to the table, something the largely brick-and-mortar GameStop desperately needs. As video games go digital and malls continue their unending slump into irrelevance, malls are going to be completely gone probably in the next 5 to 10 years, in my opinion, if not sooner. There's really no need to go to a mall anymore. There's not. There isn't. Because whenever you would go to the mall to get something you want, that everybody wanted, it'd be out of stock, right? Now, all you do is go on the Amazon, and Amazon has plenty of stock, right? They have plenty of stock. And if something is out of stock, Amazon will say, this is temporarily out of stock. It will be back in stock in 1 week. Would you like to place your order now? We'll ship it out as soon as it comes. Then you don't waste a trip to the mall to find out your products have a stock, right? GameStop stock rose a little less than 13% that day, but this wasn't a normal momentary stock surge. 2 days later, it rose 57%, then 27%. The next week, it surged 10% twice and 51% another day. This week, it rose another 18%, then 93%, and more than double today. That's insane. That's insane. All thanks to the millennials and the Gen Zers. Good job, in my opinion. I'm on your side here. I'm all for the underdog. I'm always for the underdog. Because the big dogs take advantage of loopholes in the system and usually win. And the underdogs get screwed. And I'm tired of that. The reason is twofold, both of which are far removed from anything related to the company's fundamental strength. Investors following the Reddit group bought a ton of GameStop options, and short sellers had to buy shares to cover their losing bids. Woo! Wow. On Wednesday, I like it when the little guy wins and the big guy finally loses after winning all the time. On Wednesday, While all three major stock indexes tumbled, GameStop finished up a mind-boggling 134%. For perspective, 1 year ago, a single share cost about $4. It is now 200. Well, at the time of this writing, it's even high. I think it's like almost at 400 now. It's around 3 something. It's insane. When was this written? This was written just a few days ago, I believe. Thursday. All right. Not just GameStop. A similar story was playing out with shares of AMC, the movie theater chain that's been devastated by the pandemic. Yeah, movie theaters are probably going to be non-existent within 5 to 10 years as well. It just costs way too much money to run them. Movies aren't the same as they used to be. Everything's going online. The new movie theater is your 1080p or 4K or 8K HD TV at home. Just the way it's going, folks. Shares of the new WSB Plaything were up more than 200% Wednesday after members of the Reddit board and investors on Robinhood were touting the stock. The hashtag SaveAMC was trending on Twitter. Hashtag SaveAMC. We live in the world of hashtags on Twitter primarily. They started this whole thing. Now YouTube and everyone else has them, but now it's about hashtag SaveAMC. I don't think there's anything that can save AMC or the movie theater industry. With the access to the internet at home, like, listen, I've got 2 internet-enabled TVs, one in my living room, one in my bedroom. I've got a fiber line, 1,000 up, 1,000 down. And don't get me wrong, I love going out, hiking, and I love leaving my place. I don't like being home all the time. But why go watch a movie in the movie theater when I can watch anything I want on demand in high quality on my TV? Why? So my prediction is within 5 to 10 years or less, movie theaters will be a thing of the past. Both AMC and GameStop spiked so rapidly Wednesday, they triggered automatic halts designed to protect against volatility. Volatility. I know what the word means. I just can't pronounce the darn word. So why don't we go have volatility is what it is.
Volatility.
Thank you, Google. I can't talk today. Liability to change rapidly and unpredictably, especially for the worse. Tendency of a substance to evaporate at normal temperatures. So it's volatile. I can't talk today. Pardon me. Mudnuts World on the YouTube side of things says, I watch TV and movies either on my cell, PC, or put a DVD in my Wii. When was the last time you went to a movie theater in person? It's been years. Actually, I did go see a couple of movies with my ex Dana about 3 years ago or so, but it's been a while. And we very rarely went to the movie theater. All right. Let me just see something here real quick. All right, why is this happening now? The way people trade stocks has been upended by the rise of no-fee apps like Robinhood. It's real easy to do. No fee. That's great. That technology has democratized investing, giving armchair investors far removed from traditional banks free access to sophisticated trading instruments like options. Okay? You could pay an analyst to tell you what stocks to buy, like a financial advisor. They'll get commissions from you, right? Or you could create a Reddit account and follow forums like Wall Street Bets. Millions of young people are opting for the latter, which is partly why the sudden surges in GameStop and AMC have caught Wall Street veterans by surprise. I got to give it to the millennials and the Gen Zers on this one. This is a game changer. It's a game changer to, to make this much more fair for the underdog, because Wall Street and investing has been dominated by big time players that have money, by financial advisors that get paid a lot of commission to create your portfolio. I'm not saying financial advisors are bad. I know some of them and they're pretty good. But now you have these options of just going online and doing it yourself. You do your own research and you talk with other like-minded people online, and you're basically getting, I'm not a financial advisor, and I'm not giving you advice to do this, but this, in my opinion, you're basically getting better advice from these groups than you would get probably from a financial advisor or somebody that's licensed in the industry. And that's because they need to make money, right? They need to make money, right? And it's sad because a lot of these financial advisors, they have strict regulations with their license, but sometimes they even kind of skirt the line in order to, keep making money to stay afloat. Or if they're working for somebody else, they probably have numbers that need to reach, right? And sometimes to reach those numbers, you got to do some shady or unethical things, which again is not advisable in one of the highest regulated industries, the financial world, financial services. Financial advisors have to deal with FINRA regulations and the SEC. You make one mistake and you're caught, you'll either get fined, get jail time, or both. It's a very, very highly regulated industry, but people still play the system, right? So what's an option? Options are bets investors place in the stock, allowing them to buy a call option or sell a put option at a particular price. That allows people to wager on whether a stock will rise or fall. Investors can place relatively inexpensive options, bets, and sell those options as they rise in value when the stock price gets closer to their wager. Although buying and selling options isn't the same as buying and selling stocks, big options volumes can drive a stock up or down, typically because options traders buy or sell the stock itself as a hedge. Right. In the case of GameStop and other stocks targeted by WSB, traders keep buying options, forcing the investors selling those options to hedge their bets by buying up GameStop stock. Now, what's a short? Short sellers are investors who bet that a stock is going to fail. That's what happened here in this case, in this Robinhood case, right? They borrow shares to sell on the market with the promise to buy back those shares at a later date. If they win the bet, they sold high and bought low, and they walk away with money in the bank. If they lose the bet, that's called a short squeeze, and they often hedge their losses by buying more shares of the company they bet against. Short interest in GameStop surged toward the end of the year, as investors bet against the company's earnings potential. With a mega short squeeze taking place, short sellers began to hedge their bets, buying more stock to make up for their mounting losses. Oh, wow. Wow. Let me check out the chat real quick. Furious Gaming Reactors in the house. Hey, Will, how you doing, bro? Moonchild says, I rarely go to the movies, but every once in a while it's fun to go out well before coronavirus. I hear you. But movie theaters have gotten really expensive, and people have found better ways to spend the night out. A lot of people now, if they're going to watch a movie, they'll watch a movie, like they'll go out to dinner, they'll go do something else, and then they'll come lay in bed and they'll put on a movie on their smart TV or a YouTube video or something. but I get it. Mutton Nuts World says when Smuffs 2 came out. Moonshot says, hi, Furious. Moonshot says, I saw one of the Smurfs. Oh, you're talking about Smurfs movies in 3D. Mutton Nuts World says, so that was July of 2013, the last time I went to the movies. Wow, that's a long time ago. That's like 7+ years ago. Centrist of the century, I would have to say Tim Pool was spot on his reporting, or in Occupy Wall Street when that was going on. So I don't know who you are that follows Tim Pool as well. I haven't been really too fond of Tim Pool's thoughts lately. I think Tim Pool is catering his content more so to a conservative audience, whether he agrees or not, because that's what's making him money. If you want my opinion about what Tim Pool is doing, he's playing the system. But he also knows his time is limited, so he created his own platform, timcast.com. But it's hard for me to believe that Tim was slightly more on the left like myself years ago, and then he switched over to being slightly more on the right. And I think he did that when he saw that there are more active conservatives online than liberals. And it's a much more profitable way of doing things. I've seen many conservative creators make a lot of money online, leveraging, online in the ways that Tim Pool does. So that's just my opinion. Mutton Nuts World says, oh, cool, Moon. Not seen it in 3D. Moonshot says, yeah, was pretty neat. And let's see. Furious Reactor Gaming says, the last movie I saw in theaters was 4 years ago. Yeah, it's been almost as long for me. Well, probably about 3.5 years ago was the last movie I saw. I think that was Wonder Woman. Is what I saw like 3.5 years ago. Mud Nuts Roses, I like watching from my home. Don't have to pay big bucks for snacks and tickets. And Moonshot says, true Mud. Centrist of the Century says, Tim Pool has turned into a shill. Yep, I agree with you. He is a shill. You know what, Centrist of the Century? I will agree with you on that. Tim Pool has completely turned into a shill, and that's why I don't feel that he's being genuine with people. He's all about the money, and he's raking in the money for as long as he can before YouTube shuts him down. It's only a matter of time. Only a matter of time. But that's just my opinion. Just my opinion, right? And the more and more that YouTube shuts down these people that are playing the system and not being real with people, the more opportunities it will open up for people like me that are doing the right thing and trying to get out the truthful information in the most honest and ethical ways possible, and sharing information in an unbiased way. Ruth Mode, I see you've been staying out of trouble. Good on you. Have a good day. Well, Ruth, who are you? Who are you? Do you mind sharing with me who you are if you're going to make a statement like that? It's a nice statement. I thank you. Are you somebody that's followed me in the past on a different account and you just want to, stay private? I'm just curious. Let me know. Also, American Dream, if you are watching, you're going down. Oh, you're GLM. Well, hey, GLM, how are you doing? Why is American Dream going down? Why is American Dream going down? Centrist of the Century. He tries too hard to convince everyone he's a milk you toast fence rider. Thank you, Will, for grabbing that one quickly, man. Gotta run. All right, GLM. Thanks for stopping by. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're doing well. I just think Tim Pool is trying to make as much money as he can before it gets shut down to reinvest into his new platform. More power to him, man. More power to him. All right. Let's continue here. We're at 1 hour already. Fueling the fire, Wall Street Bets, which has more than 2 million followers, is littered with posts cheering the stock gains and no small amount of righteous indignation. Wow. I like that. I like the millennials on this one and the Gen Zers. This is good stuff, in my opinion, of course. What I think is happening is that you guys are making such an impact that these fat cats, are worried that they have to get up and put in work to earn a living. Right. So these people that were making easy money, creating these, hedging type of investments, now are seeing that there's a group of people that's maybe smarter than they are, and they're going to combat every time that they do this in the future. So now, these type of options may no longer be available. I could be wrong, but wow. A moderator in the group posted this week, that fuzzy sensation you are feeling is called respect, and it is well earned. Wall Street no longer dismisses your presence anymore. Well, this group made some noise. They got my attention, and I love it. I love what they're doing. Love what they're doing. Elon Musk appeared to join the pile on Tuesday with a single word tweet. Game stunky. Or game stunk. Sorry, game stunk. That linked to Wall Street Bets. All right, Elon. Tech investor Chamath Falipiyita, however you pronounce that, dipped his toe in the frenzy, buying call options on Tuesday but closing his position Wednesday, he told CNBC. Palipitia, whatever it is, sorry for butchering your name, said he would donate his profits to charity and defended the retail investing phenomenon playing out on Reddit. Good. That's great. That's really great to hear some big shots supporting this, supporting the little guy. Instead of having idea dinners or quiet whispered conversations amongst hedge funds in the Hamptons, these kids have the courage to do it transparently in a forum, he said. What it proves is this retail investor phenomenon is here to stay. All right. Isn't this a bubble? It sure is. It's a pretty great bubble in my opinion here. It's interesting. There's an argument that GameStop was undervalued, but hardly anyone believes that GameStop, BlackBerry, Macy's, AMC, or any of the other companies that WSB is promoting have fundamentals to support these surging stock prices. At some point, reality has to set in. You guys better find the right time to sell this stock, because it's going to go down. It's going to go down. You got to be ready for that. But that's the problem with bubbles. Get out too early and you lose a chance to cash out on top. So GameStop keeps surging until it won't anymore. My prediction, next week, it'll start to go down. If I was these guys, I would start selling at some point next week. Because once even a small group of people start to sell, everyone will sell. You got to know when to get out. If it was me, let's say it was me and I already made $1 million right now, would I risk it another week to make another million or two? No. I'd be fine with $1 million. I wouldn't get greedy. I'd be like, wow, what a heck of a payout. What a heck of an investment. Not only did I make good money, I also shut down the big time players that had been taking advantage and playing the system all this time. The GameStop saga is a battle of new school versus old school, amateur versus professional, rebels versus the establishment. And I love it. I love when the little guy wins. I love it when the little guy wins. That's what I'm all about. At the moment, the kids are winning. But like all bubbles, this one's going to burst at some point. I don't think it's going to burst. Maybe this particular situation will be a learning experience, and maybe it will be a burst. But this is going to wake up the big shots to rethink what they do in the future. And I've got to really, really thank these millennials and these post-millennials, the Gen Zers, the I generation, for making this happen. This is fascinating to me. I just had to talk about this. This is fascinating to me. So that is that. So this is the next article here that I'm going to go over when I get back from the break. I'm going to switch back over to full screen and check out the chat and then step away for a quick break. Nothing happening over on the Facebook side of things, and the YouTube side of things seems to be doing well. Thank you to the moderators today for doing a great job moderating. I appreciate you, Will, Furious Reactor Gaming, Muttnuts World, and also you, Moonchild. Will says, no problem. Centrist of the Century says, I will have to say free speech is under attack by both sides. Maybe it is under attack by both sides, but there's a difference between hate speech and freedom of speech. There's a difference between racism and free speech. You can maybe share your thoughts about that while I'm on breaks, Centrist of the Century, and I'll share my thoughts when I get back. Muttnuts World says, I just seen that Susan Wojcicki put out a letter on January 26th called Our 2021 Priorities. She put out a video as well on it, and I was going to do a reaction to it, but I decided not to because, to be honest with you, I really don't think she addressed that much. I think she just kind of reinstated what had already happened. And from the CEO of a company, I want to see what the future holds. I didn't get a good feeling about this one. There really wasn't this year on YouTube, or last year, 2020, there really wasn't a great year-end review or what we're looking forward to in 2021. There wasn't even, what do they call that video? I forgot what they called that video that they used to do every year. This year they didn't do it. I believe Mr. Beast did it. The problem is they keep moving the goalposts. I can agree with you on that to a certain extent, Centrist of the Century. Furious Reactor Gaming, no problem. All right. We are at 1 hour and 8 minutes. Let me cue up some royalty-free music here. And just give me a second here. Just need one more. One more. Let's see. All right, folks, I'm going to step away for a 5 to 7 or 8 minute break. When I get back, we're going to get into the next two articles here. We're going to be discussing class action lawsuit filed against Robinhood following outrage over GameStop stock restriction. And then I'm going to wrap the show by talking about Marjorie Taylor Greene and the noise that she's stirring up, and I'll share my thoughts about her as professionally as possible. But I will just come out and say, which is what I'm trying to say, that I'm really, really not that fond of her attitude and what she said in the past. And we'll get to that when I get back. I'm sure most of you have heard about the story, but if you haven't, I mean, this is just unbelievable that a member of our government could even ever think this way, and is now wondering why the Democrats want to, oust her. Okay. All right. So stick around. We'll be right back. yeah! Yeah, we're back. We're back. Mutt's going to say welcome back. Maybe even Moonchild. Mutt, it has become a tradition for you to say welcome back when I come back from the breaks. Right, Mutt? Oh, yeah. Woo! I feel pretty good. Do you feel pretty good? Who feels pretty good out there today? Let me know. Let me know. Hey, we have a viewer on Facebook. Say hello. Introduce yourself. If you're on Facebook, say hello. I'll get to you in a bit. Oh, yeah. Love the piano. You don't hear the piano that much anymore nowadays, right? With this crazy new modern day music we have, right? Yeah. Oh, yes. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Mutt says, welcome back. All right. Welcome back to Navigating the Modern World with Coach Eli, live here on YouTube. And once again today, also simulcasting live on Facebook. If you're on Facebook, please say hello, introduce yourself. I'll be periodically checking the Facebook side of things. I more so primarily focus on YouTube, but I do check in on Facebook as well. If you want to join us over on the YouTube side of things, I have once again reopened most of my live stream chats, which is what I'm trying to say, public, so you'll be able to come in and chat. Just know you are susceptible to my rules of keeping it, safe and clean. Speak your mind, but do it properly, professionally, maturely, or one of my many amazing moderators will put the ban hammer on you, and you don't want to get that. You don't want to get that, right? Right. Today, we are discussing people that play the system are running out of options and held accountable. How this affects you. One more time, people that play the system are running out of options and held accountable. How this affects you. I can tell you folks, more than likely, nothing is certain, right, until it happens. But I can tell you, more than likely, this situation with Robinhood and the GameStop stock and all that is going to get the government, the SEC, the White House, the Biden administration to really look into this and maybe make some changes to the law and hold these companies, such as Robinhood, more accountable for the decisions they make that, favor their biggest investors or partners, rather than be fair and equal with everyone, such as the average everyday investor like you and me. They're going to be held accountable. And that's what I really like about this Joe Biden administration. There's going to be a lot more accountability out there, and we need to have more accountability because people out there have been getting away with, I don't want to say it to get demonetized, they've been getting away with a lot of crazy things. Just put it to you that way. They've gotten so used to getting away with those crazy things that now that accountability is happening, they don't like it, right? Well, ask yourself, should you have been doing these things in the first place? And are you surprised that the change is coming? Ask yourself that. Especially with a lot of these conservative content creators that were just coming out here on YouTube and social media and making things up and attacking people in racial ways and in hateful and discriminatory ways. We should have never allowed that in the first place. Who wants to see that? Who wants to be around people like that in the first place, right? Anyway, let me get the chat here real quick, and then we're going to get back to the next two articles. Centrist of the Century says, during the Democratic debate, the current vice president didn't have many nice things to say about our current president. That's definitely not true, Centrist of the Century. I mean, that's your opinion. But why would Harris talk smack about Biden? Biden, in my opinion, this is just my opinion, made a very smart decision to pick Kamala Harris for two reasons. Number one, it shows diversity, that, women are equal and they should have equal rights. And I agree with that. Number two, she's an African-American and Asian woman, right? So it shows diversity on race and gender, right? And any man out there that has a problem with diversity in that way, you have a problem within yourself, to be honest with you. I have no problem with women having equal rights, equal pay for equal work, the right to bear arms, the right to vote, all that stuff, yada, yada, yada. I've said it before many times. But a lot of men, don't like that because they think it's changed women in ways that make them undateable, or, it makes men not want to commit or marry women anymore. Now, there are some women like that, but there are also some women that are still good, decent women. On top of having all these rights, you just have to pick and choose the right ones, right? But anyway, Centrist of the Century furthermore says, now they're the best of buds, shows you what liars our government is to us voters on both sides. Well, dude, I don't know. I don't know what you have to back up your statement on Harris talking smack about Biden in the past. Now, you have to understand, initially she was running for president, right? So, whenever you're running against an opponent, right, sometimes you're going to say things to try to edge out your opponent. I don't agree in those tactics, but who hasn't done that in the past, right? So if that's what you're talking about, I can understand it. But anyway, Mutt says, welcome back. Mutt says, yup. Moonchild, cool background. She loves the, oh my gosh. I'm like so far behind here. American Dream 1.5 with 3 $1 super chats. Thank you so much. How you doing, man? You got so many channels, don't you, American Dream? American Dream. Have you been enjoying these shows lately? Support, respect others, and accept. Right. Centrist of the Century says, I think you should be picked on your qualifications, your gender, or your race. I don't think you should be picked on your gender or your race. I think if you're going to judge anyone, I don't like judging people, period. But if I were to judge somebody, it would not be on their race or their gender. It would be on how qualified they are for the job. Like Centrist of the Century, I've said before in many streams in the past, maybe you've been following me for a while, you remember this. But to those of you that didn't or have never heard me say this, look, when you have a man and a woman both applying for the same job, let's say that the man gets the job, right? And then the woman says, oh, I didn't get the job because I'm a woman and he's a man. When the truth of the matter is the man was just more qualified than the woman, right? Now, had the woman been more qualified than the man for the job, he would have gotten the job, she would have gotten the job over the man, and she would have been paid exactly the same the man was offered, right? It all boils down to qualification, right? If men and women are equal, per se, at least within the law, right? If we're looking at biologically equal, I wouldn't go as far and say we're not biologically equal. We're biologically different is a more mature and professional way of saying it. But when it comes to our rights, we are equal and we are treated equally. The problem is that when women are less qualified at certain things and they don't get the job, some women will play the system, like the topic here today, and say, well, you didn't hire me because I'm a woman and he's a man. And then sometimes the company will make up a position for her because they're fearing she's going to sue for discrimination or something, right? See, I don't like it when the system's played that way. Oh my gosh, American Dream with another $2 super chat. Thank you so much. I don't know what to say, man. I don't know what to say. Thank you so much. American Dream 1.5 says, thank you, Coach Eli, for helping others with real difficulties in our lives. Well, I appreciate it, man. I'm willing to help you, dude. You've reached out to me privately. I'm willing to help you in any way. Whenever you want to talk, bro, next week, if you want to set up a phone call or something, I'd love to help you. But you tell me, dude. You tell me. But thank you so much for your continued support. It's not even about the money, but I appreciate that, dude. Thank you so much for another $2 super chat. She called him a racist in a roundabout way. Look, I don't know whether that's true or not. Centrist of the century. I think a lot of people will say things in the heat of the moment when they're fighting for a position. And they really don't mean those things. I would not consider her to be that type of person. She's not a bad person. Again, I've said some things in the past that I didn't mean because I was triggered. And a lot of people out here on YouTube have those videos, and then they put out these videos taken way out of context to try to defame my character. That happens to everyone, man. People have their moments, dude, and that's just the way it goes. So, for me, I need a little bit more than that to pass judgment on someone in that way, and I don't like to pass judgment on people anyway. Now, when it comes to Marjorie Taylor Greene, we'll get to her in a bit. There's plenty of info on her to state the opinions I'll be stating in just a little bit. So stick around for that. Let me check Facebook. Nothing is happening on the Facebook side of things. Let's see. American Dream 1.5. Sorry. Centrist of the Century says, sorry, I meant not your gender or race. Okay, thanks for clarifying that. It's about qualifications, and I think you agree with what I just said. I'm not forcing you to agree, but it makes sense. Men and women should be considered for any job or position based on their qualifications, not their gender or their race or anything else. I completely agree with you. But then you get those people that play the system that don't get the job, such as a lot of women will play that card, or a lot of ethnicities will play that card when they don't really have a leg to stand on. And that's playing the system. Now, if somebody is legitimately being discriminated against, then I can understand it. But in most cases, that's not the case. People play the system, and I'm tired of that. Tired of it. American Dream says, credentials, skills, and experience are important qualifications in the workplace. Agree. I mean, we can sit here and talk about this all day. It makes perfect sense, right? We can sit here and talk about it all day, and some people still will argue it. The people that argue it, in my opinion, need a lot of help. They need to work on themselves and learn to accept that maybe you're just not qualified enough yet. Work harder, become better qualified, and then you'll accomplish whatever you've been trying to accomplish and you've been getting passed up on. Bottom line, that's it. That is it. Centuries of the century, generally in the heat of the moment, the truth comes out. You're right about that. In some cases, in the heat of the moment, the truth can't come out. But also, in the heat of the moment, sometimes you say things you don't mean out of frustration, that you're being attacked, right? So I get it. All right, let's continue here. Let's go back to the browser source. All right. So this article is from CNN Business again, and it is titled, Class Action Lawsuit Filed Against Robinhood Following Outrage Over GameStop Stock Restriction. One more time. Class Action Lawsuit Filed Against Robinhood Following Outrage Over GameStop Stock Restriction. This was updated yesterday at 4:23 a.m. Eastern Time 1:23 p.m. Sorry, 1:23 a.m. Pacific time. January 29, 2021. This is very recent. Let's check it out. A Robinhood customer filed a class action lawsuit against the stock trading app Thursday after the company barred traders from buying shares of GameStop promoted by Wall Street Bets, a popular Reddit group for investors. Good for him. Okay. The lawsuit filed in the Southern District of New York claims that Robinhood's actions rigged the market against its customers. It did. It absolutely did. It undoubtedly did. Everyone on YouTube that's talked about this, whether they're on the left or the right, agrees with what I'm saying. Even mainstream media, even CNN agrees. For the most part, everyone's on the same page here regarding this, which is good because that's telling me that something is gonna be done to make this right. And I'll tell you, that CEO of Robinhood, dude, you were so scared on CNN last night. You looked like you were fearing for your future, man, and your life. It was pathetic. It was pathetic. It was rehearsed. This dude basically, took a gamble. And in my opinion, I think he violated the law to protect the major investors, or one major investor on his platform that I believe owns part of his company. And you risk that to lose your securities license. I'm sure this guy has a security license. He had to have had one to start the company, right? Dude, you know how serious a securities license is? It is extremely serious. I have 2 insurance licenses, property and casualty, and life and health. And those are serious enough. But let me tell you something. The securities licenses puts my licenses to shame. They're held to a higher, stricter regard. And you risked all that. You risked being fined, going to jail, and basically almost having your company dismantled over this, dude. Big mistake, man. Big mistake. And the funny thing is, I also heard that Google, there were a lot of negative reviews, hundreds of thousands of negative reviews on Google, 1 star for Robinhood, right? And Google started removing these negative reviews. Why, Google? I know I'm on a Google platform right now, YouTube, so please, I'm just stating my opinion in a professional and mature way, but why are you removing legitimate reviews? Why? Now, I gotta be honest here. In this case, as a slight left liberal, I will agree with the conservatives and say that you are silencing their freedom of speech here. This is a case of where you're silencing the truth and freedom of speech. There's no hate speech involved in this. It's just stating their opinion about, what happened, which is an actual fact. What is Google's involvement in this? Even Apple is not allowing reviews through Apple regarding Robinhood. Why? Why can't we write an honest review about this company? Why? I will say, I'm a fair guy. I'm unbiased. I agree 100% with the conservatives on this one. I do. And I'm on the left, slightly. That's fair, right? The lawsuit filed in the Southern District of New York claims that Robinhood's actions rigged the market against its customers. It did! Robinhood's actions were done purposefully and knowingly to manipulate the market for the benefit of people and financial institutions who were not Robinhood's customers, the lawsuit states. Absolutely true. Robinhood did not respond to a request for comment. I wonder why. The company imposed the stock trading restrictions Thursday, citing recent volatility. I can't even pronounce that word. I suck at that word. Pardon me. The company said in the blog post it will only allow users to close out their positions in those stocks, which include GameStop, AMC, Bed Bath & Beyond, and Nokia. So instead of just shutting down the entire trading ability, okay, Instead of shutting down the ability to purchase and sell, they just stopped the ability to purchase, and they continued to allow people to sell the stock of these particular stocks, right? I wonder why, because selling these stocks would benefit them and other people involved with them. And you're saying that there was nothing shady happening here? Come on. Come on, Vlad, owner of Robinhood, which is based here in Menlo Park. I live in Redwood City. Robinhood is based in Menlo Park, California, which is one city away from where I live. And in Menlo Park, the Facebook headquarters is there as well. I live right around the corner. Vlad, this was a poor decision, dude. Poor move. And even if your company survives this, the credibility of people feeling comfortable investing through your company in the future or any other investment site that did the same thing is shot. You're out of business, man. You just put yourself out of business pretty much. It's ridiculous, man. Following the decision, Thursday shares of GameStop fluctuated wildly. The lawsuit claims Robinhood's decision deprived retail investors of potential gains they could have made by buying when the stock was low and selling when its price rose. That's the name of the game. That's how you play the stock market, right? Let me check out the chat real quick. Century to the century, the mainstream media is nothing more than propaganda. I will, for the most part, disagree with you on that. Do I think they always get it right? No. But do I think that mainstream media, including CNN, is as wrong as the right-wing people say? No. But we have a difference of opinion in a lot of things. So I can understand where you're coming from. You're coming from the aspect of the right. It's your opinion. Chris Como interviewed Vlad, the CEO of Robinhood, last night and asked him some honest questions. And everything Chris Como said was right. And he's more on the left. So are you telling me that Chris Como's interview was not a good interview? It wasn't truthful? He didn't ask the right questions? I mean, come on. If I felt that CNN or the mainstream media was too biased or very biased, I wouldn't watch them. I don't like watching biased things. I like watching things and hearing things that make sense. It's not about left versus right. It's about what makes sense. There was no hate speech involved in Hunter Biden's laptop story. Did they silence either? That's a whole new topic, man. We could talk about that for a long time. I won't be discussing that here today. But I respect your comment. It's a whole new aspect. So do you also believe that the media covering up Biden's ties to China with his son before the election was completely to ensure his victory? I don't have an opinion on that at this point, man, because to be quite honest with you, that's not really relevant to anything that's going on right now, and especially what we're talking about here. I understand you want to hold anyone accountable for anything like that, but we have so many more important things to tackle. The coronavirus. We have insurrectionists. We've got all these other crazy things happening right now. That, hey, do I feel it needs to be looked into at some point? Yeah. But is it the right time to do it now? No, we've got more important things to tackle right now. We've got people dying in this country, and we're trying to roll out 1.5 million vaccinations per day. Anyway, let me see here. Robin Gross I love CNN. I like your hat. Robin Gross. I'm going to leave that alone. I'm going to leave that alone. Okay. Give me a second here. All right. Let's continue. GameStop stock has soared since January 11th after it hired several new board members that investors believe could help the stock boost its digital sales. Reddit's Wall Street Bets group began promoting the stock, sending it soaring more than 1,000% over the past several weeks. The stock surge forced short sellers who were betting against the stock to buy shares to hedge their positions, sending the stock soaring even higher. Beautiful. Many day traders took advantage of Robinhood's free trades, placing bets on GameStop and other stocks the Reddit group promoted, but those customers are playing a dangerous game. Sure, because it could go the other way very quickly. The company's fundamentals don't support such elevated stock prices, and the bubble could burst, wiping out the traders who had placed big bets on GameStop and the like. All very true. We're committed to helping our customers navigate this uncertainty, the company said in a statement. We fundamentally believe that everyone should have access to financial markets. Okay. Robinhood published another blog post Thursday afternoon saying it would allow limited buys of these stocks starting Friday. Why limited? Why limited? Why are you going to limit it at all? Why can't people buy as much as they want to buy? You let the hedgers do what they want to do, right? But then, us average everyday people can't buy as much as we want because you want it fixed in your own special way that's most beneficial for you and your company. Which I understand you want to make money and you need to make money. I get that. It's just ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. Following Robinhood's decision earlier Thursday morning, Redditors stood up a new forum, R Class Action Robinhood, to coordinate efforts for a lawsuit that collected more than 31,000 users Thursday. I hope they bury them, to be honest with you. Teach this Vlad guy a lesson. He needs to learn his lesson. As quickly as you built up your company, dude, it can come crashing down if you do things like you did. One law firm that Redditors have engaged with is Chapman Albane LLC, based in Cleveland, Ohio, which specializes in investments and financial fraud. The firm's homepage currently has a prompt titled, "Are you a Robinhood user who has suffered losses?" along with a way for people to submit information. Okay, good. That's great. I'm glad that they're taking action on this. There needs to be something done legally, but also by our government, the SEC, and the Biden administration. They need to do something about this. The firm has collected information from more than 6,000 people as it investigates Robinhood. Attorney Philip V, we're just going to call him V, I'm not going to try to pronounce his last name, told CNN. This is pretty unprecedented. It absolutely is, and I love it because the big dogs are finally suffering the losses, and the little guy and gal is finally winning. Food for thought, right? I've never heard of another scenario like this, that attorney told CNN in a phone interview. There's going to be a lot of people left holding the bag. You're absolutely right about that. Vujanov, I guess is how you pronounce the name. Vujanov specifically called Robinhood's actions today disingenuous. I agree. They're completely disingenuous. While citing a tweet from Robinhood's official Twitter account in March 2016 that stated, "Let the people trade." Let the people trade. Now all of a sudden they are changing their position, Vujanov said regarding Robinhood. Oh, really? One avid Wall Street Bets user dismayed over Robinhood's decision was Christopher Kardatsky, 21 years old. This is a Gen Zer. post-millennial, I generation, Gen Zer, a recent college graduate who, along with his brother, have developed free financial software used by Redditors to guide their investment strategy. Good for you guys. Good for you guys for making something out of yourselves. It seems a bit silly. The people of our Wall Street beats were buying up GameStop and playing a game of Jenga, but it's the same game that hedge funds have been playing for decades and decades. Kardatsky said, it is a bit ridiculous. Yeah, these big-time traders that have been hedging for a while have been killing the system, right? So when it flips the other way around, now we got to stop it. Now we got to put, roadblocks on it, right? It's not only a bit ridiculous, Kardatsky, it is extremely ridiculous in my opinion. This sentiment was echoed on Capitol Hill, where Democratic Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Republican Senator Ted Cruz were among a group of lawmakers to chastise Robinhood's decision. Good. We now need to know more about at Robinhood's app's decision to block retail investors from purchasing stock while hedge funds are freely able to trade the stock as they see fit, tweeted Ocasio-Cortez. This is not about them being Democrats. It's not about a Democrat saying that. This is about what's right. And Cruz is Republican. They're like, what the heck's going on here? Why are we favoring the big dog? And when the little dog comes in and makes big money, as they should have the right to do so, why would they invest with you in the first place if they didn't have a chance to make big money? Is your system automatically set to favor the big dogs and screw over the little dogs? You're being called out. You're being called out. This is going to change. Like I said in the title of my stream, people that play the system are running out of options and held accountable. They're going to be held accountable. This new administration is starting to hold people accountable, and I love it because people have been getting away with playing the system forever. It's time to stop that and make it fair and equal for everyone. I'm really feeling this. In a subsequent tweet, Ocasio-Cortez said she will be on Twitch tonight to discuss GameStop and today's developments. All right. So that is that. Now, I'm going to check out the chat real quick and then step away for one more break before I come back for the last part of the show. I need to rest my voice and use the restroom again and get a little more coffee because this last part is going to be very interesting as well. So let me go back over to full screen. Robin Gross, you're asking a lot of questions that make me feel like you're trolling. I'm going to ban you myself. There's nobody that's going to come in and ask, why is nobody chatting? Why is this free chat? We don't need that here. Take care. Have a nice day. Centers of the century. The most important thing in the world right now is having a leader to the free world that has ties to our biggest enemy. I see you ignored that message. What message are you talking about? I'm not trying to ignore, the Hunter Biden situation. I'm just not talking about that here today, man. That's a whole new cat in the bag. That's a whole new thing. And right now, the most important thing, dude, is this pandemic and getting it under control before it kills more people. That's the most important thing right now, dude. In my opinion, nothing else really matters besides that. Now, there are a few other things, but the most important thing is the pandemic, dude. Anyway. Let me cue up some music here. We are at 1 hour and 53 minutes. And can't wait to come back and talk about Marjorie Taylor Greene. Wow. I just never seen any government like this in our country's history. It's gotten pretty bad. It's that sad, too. All right. Okay. Just need a couple of more. One more. What's it gonna be? All right. Music's all queued up, folks. I'm going to step away for another 5 to 7 or 8 minute break. And like I said, when we get back, we're going to be talking about Marjorie Taylor Greene and her great conversation with former President Donald J. Trump amid calls for her ouster. Oh, man. Anyway, stick around. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Right, Mutt? Hey, Centers of the Century, stick around. I'm going to answer your question about the lockdowns. That's very interesting because here in California where I live, we just had our restrictions lifted. And I have a very interesting opinion regarding that. Stick around for that. It's coming right up. I'm just going to meditate for a second. Yeah, feel it, feel it, feel it, feel it. You feel it, Mutt? Mutt, you enjoying the show today? You folks enjoying the show? Muchow reappears like magic. That's right, it's the magic of Hollywood in my home studio. Yeah. The song is called Palm Trees from the YouTube audio library. Safe music to use to avoid demonetization and copyright issues, right? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. All right. Welcome back to the third installment of Navigating the Modern World with Coach Eli, live here on YouTube and also simulcasting live on Facebook. Glad you could all join me today on this beautiful Saturday afternoon. If you're still here on the West Coast with me, it's afternoon. If you're on the East Coast, good evening to you folks. Thank you for joining the show today. Let me check out Facebook and see if anything's happening over there. Nothing happening on Facebook. My Facebook friends are either out having fun or they're sleeping. It's Saturday. What do you expect? Tonight, we are discussing the topic, or today we're discussing the topic, people that play the system are running out of options and held accountable. They're starting to be held accountable, which is great. How this affects you. Pretty much shared throughout the show how it affects you when people play the system. Go back and check out the replay once the show's done. I had the DVR rewind feature disabled on both Facebook and YouTube because I want people to be here and engage live. But when the show's done, go back and check out the replay, especially the first part. I more so explain how it's affected me in my life and how I feel it would affect you. And I'm sure you can, figure out for yourself how, people that have played the system have affected your life. So that is that. Let's check out the chat here on the YouTube side of things. It's been hopping today, Lots of people passing by. Now over 200 views on this stream already. Interesting. All right, so Centers of the Century says, so if the most important thing is a pandemic, do you believe in lockdowns also? I'm going to get to that in just a second. Mutt says, welcome back. Moonchild reappears like magic. Sorry, I can't even talk. Reappears like magic. Moonchild says yes. And to answer your question, Centers of the Century, regarding the lockdowns, even as a slight left liberal, that's more down the middle and more about what's best for the overall interest of everyone. I'm not a big believer in lockdowns, but I also feel some of them had to happen. I'll tell you why. Because when you had a former president like Donald J. Trump in office that was running rallies, really discrediting this pandemic and not wearing a mask and having rallies where people were standing next to each other, not wearing masks, okay, that creates a big issue. Then what happened after that? Okay, he got coronavirus, right? So Trump gets coronavirus, and then he goes into the hospital and miraculously is cured in like 3 days, right? I don't know what to think about that, right? Then next thing you know, many people in his administration started getting coronavirus, some of which were elder people, and that's scary, man. Don't you think that's scary? Now, granted, you still have to live life. I'll tell you, for me, how the virus has affected my lifestyle. It has not affected me in one way or another, in any way, shape, or form, whether there's a lockdown or not. Even during the times we've been locked down here in California where I live, I've still gone out and done everything that I've always done. I love going hiking, right? They're not going to close hiking trails during this. That's one of the best things to do, not only during a pandemic when there's not much else to do, but anytime, because it keeps you in shape, you breathe in the fresh air, etc., right? So, I still have gone hiking throughout the pandemic. Restaurants are still open. Now, when there's a lockdown, you're not able to eat inside the restaurant, but a lot of restaurants have outdoor seating, and they put tents outside, big tents in their parking lots with heated lamps, and they've spread out the tables, and all you have to do is wear a mask. I think the only inconvenience about this entire pandemic for me has been remembering to put on a mask before I leave my car. and walking into a building and they say, mask, mask. Oh, I got to go back out to my car and get my mask. And yes, can it be a little bit uncomfortable wearing a mask? Does it make you feel like, you're like all stuffy and have that claustrophobic feeling? Absolutely. But I have no problem wearing a mask. So it has not affected me one bit. And again, in my opinion, if everything was done right initially by President Trump, and he more so took this pandemic seriously while he was in office, I don't think many of these lockdowns would have happened. I think a lot of the lockdowns happened because people were getting careless, because that's the way the commander-in-chief at that time was leading the world. He was making it almost sound like this pandemic is a hoax, which it's not. So that's my opinion regarding that. I'm a fair person. Look, just because I'm slightly on the left doesn't mean I don't care about the best overall interest for everyone. But yeah, because cases were going up, we were put on lockdown in California many weeks ago, and now the lockdown has been lifted as cases have started to, decline. Now, deaths have gone up, but cases are starting to decline, so that's a positive sign there. And as we get more and more people vaccinated, because Biden's promising we're going to vaccinate 1 to 1.5 million people per day, which is, look, I love you, Biden, but even I say that's kind of a hard thing to accomplish. As we get more and more people vaccinated, and I will get vaccinated when it becomes available, I think that's going to start bringing things back to normal. So those are my thoughts regarding that right there. Century to the Century says, of course, they're being lifted. We have a new president. COVID-19 is going to disappear completely in 3 months. It was a political ploy. If you can't see through that, you're blind. No, I agree with you, dude. Listen, I do. I completely agree with you on that. I don't want to get too far into it. You say the wrong things and you get removed, right? I'm just trying to speak the facts here and say, hey, yeah, nobody's still sure about, why this thing was created, or if it was accidentally released or if it was purposefully released. We don't know. Many people think it was purposefully released, but hey, regardless, it's here and we're dealing with it, and we got to get rid of it and get things back to normal. Let's see here. I said plandemic. Oh, you said plandemic. Okay. Well, that's your opinion. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. But I can understand why you would feel that way. Many people think it was planned. I don't know. It's here and we got to deal with it and move forward. But I understand. American Dream with another $1 super chat. Thank you, American Dream 1.5. Thank you so much. I greatly appreciate it, man. Century to the Century says they're called face diapers. Well, that's a good way to put it, man. That's pretty funny, but it makes sense. American Dream 1.5 says, I was in California back in October. The restaurants were at 25% capacity. You're right. And they've been about 25 to 50% capacity throughout this. But see, American Dream 1.5, that's better than nothing. And let me tell you something. They're still open for takeout. Look, I've gone on hiking trips with my activity partner and gone away with her for the weekend. You can still get a decent hotel room. You can still hike. You can still get food for takeout or eat outside. We have not completely shut down because of this pandemic, but we become a little more cautious. So, yeah. Just because the restaurants are at 25% capacity doesn't mean that their takeout business hasn't skyrocketed. And when you have, delivery services like what was one I used recently called Grubhub, right? You go on the app, you order food, it gets delivered to you. The restaurant still makes money, right? And then, you have someone delivering the food to you, you tip them and they make money doing that. I think we're doing okay. I think we're handling this as best as possible. And like I said, look, I live in California, one of the most liberal places on the planet, right? And I'm not saying that I like extreme liberalism. I don't. I'm slightly left. But, I live in a state where politics are pretty crazy here. But life is still going on. And it really hasn't affected me one way or another. So that is that. American Dream 1.5 says, in Texas, you got to wear a mask everywhere. And he furthermore says, I work in the medical field and I haven't gotten my vaccination yet. I'm kind of worried. If you work in the medical field, shouldn't they have offered you that vaccination already? I thought they were vaccinating all medical professionals across the country and the globe first. That's what I thought was happening. So why have they offered you vaccination yet, American Dream? I'm just kind of wondering. Centers of the Century says, so do you agree that our current president should be illegitimate? No, dude. And that's, look, obviously you're on the right and you're a Trump supporter and you're entitled to that. Or you're at least, not a supporter of anyone on the left. For me, it's not about who's on the left or the right or down the middle. It's about who I feel can make the biggest difference and make changes for the better. Our last president did not care about the pandemic. He cared more about going golfing than the pandemic. This president gets into office and he immediately tackles that issue along with many other executive orders. So that's my thought about that. And it has nothing to do with me being slightly on the left or being a Democrat. It has to do with it making sense to me. You know what I mean? So that's that. Moonchild says, I would rather wear a mask than a ventilator. I agree with you on that. I'll take a mask over a ventilator any day. Any day. Buttnuts World, we are at 75% capacity in restaurants, but still have to wear masks in public and government buildings and stay 6 feet apart when possible. That's good. So much. Things are still moving forward in your neck of the woods. People are learning to live with this pandemic. And I'll tell you what, once the pandemic is handled and we have enough people vaccinated to the point where we don't have to wear masks anymore, if we were able to get through this, we'll be able to get through anything. That's my thought on that. Buttnuts World says, Moon, I agree with you on that. Moonchild, thumbs up. And Smiley American Dream 1.5. My wife and I went to the casino in Texas. There was a fraction of its normal occupancy. Yeah, because they have to socially distance. And, when you're playing cards, you're typically sitting next to a bunch of people. Like, I wonder how it is playing blackjack at a blackjack table now. What do they only allow? 3 people, one on the left, one on the right, and one in the middle, and then the dealer? Yeah, that's interesting. And I love going gambling, but that's interesting. American Dream 1.5 says, I love the Anaheim and Los Angeles, beautiful cities they are. Anaheim is where Disneyland is at, and LA is a great place to visit. And while you're out there, go to the coast, go to Santa Monica State Beach and Malibu, and drive down PCH, the Pacific Coast Highway. It's amazing, dude. I'm sure you've done that. It's amazing. But that's where the governor of Maryland, Larry Hogan, has from the start said to get out and get fresh air and exercise. We've never really been on a strict Lockdown in Maryland, just small little ones. Okay, that's good. Well, we've been on strict lockdown here, but it hasn't affected me. Still gone out and done whatever I want to do. Just got to be careful. I don't think they wanted to put us on lockdown, or anyone else. I think they did it because people were not taking the virus seriously. I don't think they were going to arrest anyone, for being out. They just wanted to make a statement, say, look, no one's following the rules here, and it's killing people, and it's making people sick. Wear a mask and go do what you got to do. And we'll lift the lockdowns because the cases will slow down and things will get back on track. Oh, boy. Okay. Centuries of the Century says, complete government control, it's called communism. That's where we're heading. The Democratic Party is so far left, it's crazy. I don't think Biden is as left as you and other people on the right think he is. Biden has said himself that he's not just the president for the people that voted for him. He's the president for all Americans. You never heard Trump say he's the president for all Americans. That's the difference right there. So I don't think that Biden and his administration is as far left as people think he is. Because if I felt he was, or his administration was, I would not have voted for him. I'm not looking to bring in any president that's an extremist one way or the other. I want a president that's going to love every American and cater things to every American, not just his or her own political party. So that's my thought about that. All right. I just finished up with the chat. Let's check Facebook real quick. Nothing happening over there. Let's get to this final article. We are at 2 hours and 21 minutes. We need to wrap this up soon because I want to enjoy some quiet time on my Saturday. I'm going to relax tonight. All right. So let's switch over to the browser source. Excuse me a second. Sorry, had to clear my throat. Those darn allergies acting up again. All right. I'll get to the rest of the comments and questions in the chat in a bit. All right, from CNN Politics. Updated, 4:09 p.m. Eastern, Saturday, January 30th, 2021. This was just about 3 hours ago. Okay. Marjorie Taylor Greene boasts of great conversation with Trump amid calls for her ouster. Written by Veronica Strakulersi. These names I can't pronounce them. Daniela Diaz and Jamie Gango, CNN. All right, let's get to it. Marjorie Taylor Greene announced Saturday she had spoken with former President Donald Trump amid calls for her expulsion from Congress, saying she'll never apologize as she faces, backlash over controversial actions and recently resurfaced comments. Yeah, when I first saw those comments, I was like, how did she get in office in the first place? In a series of tweets, the Georgia Republican said, she was so grateful for Trump's support, and more importantly, the people of this country are absolutely 100% loyal to him because he is 100% loyal to the people and America first. That's not true about Donald Trump. He's not about American first. He's about Donald J. Trump first. Let's be real about that. If he was about America first, then he would cater his message to everyone, not just people on the right, or not the people of his party, which he's going to end up calling the what do you call it? I can't even think of the word right now. Chris Cuomo on CNN calls them the Retrumplicans, and Trump's going to call them the Patriot Party, right? The Patriot Party, in my opinion, is different than actual Republicans. Because I know a lot of Republicans here in California, and I'm good friends with them. And while we may have a slight difference of opinion, we do agree on certain things, and we get along at the end of the day. We don't argue. So I think there's just a different level of Republicans out there. The Trump supporters, the actual Republicans, and then the Democrats and the independents. CNN has reached out to the former president for comment. Green's apparent conversation with Trump comes at a tumultuous time for the Republican Party as GOP leaders navigate party infighting within the government. Fighting against your own people, where you're all lawmakers and you're supposed to get together to, create a better country for everyone. But we spend more time infighting against left versus right. Infighting over the former president's role in inciting the deadly U.S. Capitol riot that led to his second impeachment and how his legacy fits with the party's future. CNN's K-File reported earlier this week that Green, a staunch supporter of Trump and the policies he pushed while in office, had repeatedly indicated support for executing prominent Democrat politicians in 2018 and 2019 before being elected to Congress. So you've got a member of Congress that indicated support for executing prominent Democratic politicians in 2018 and 2019. Why didn't anyone see this before she was elected to Congress? The Congresswoman has a track record of incendiary rhetoric, including past comments using Islamophobic and anti-Semitic tropes, as well as ties to the baseless and thoroughly debunked QAnon conspiracy theory. Sounds like to me she's not even really a Republican. She's a Retrumplican, or a member of the future Patriot Party to be if Trump actually creates that, right? Green, in one of her tweets Saturday, declared, "I won't back down. I'll never apologize, and I'll always keep fighting for the people." No, ma'am, you'll keep fighting for yourself because you don't sound like you're someone that cares about the people. You're someone that cares about your own views and your own party, and there's no one in their right mind that would say the things that you said or click like on the things you click like on that cares about everybody. Absolutely ridiculous. She also referenced comments from House Speaker Nancy Pelosi during a news conference this week in which the Democratic leader said that the enemy is within the House of Representatives, referring to the rhetoric and behavior of some Republican members of Congress, including Green. So in essence, ma'am, if people even within your own party disagree with some of your things, you attack them, right? That's a typical right-wing extremist type of move. They attack anyone and everyone that doesn't agree exactly with their agenda or agendas. Pathetic. Yes, there is an enemy within, Green wrote, and that enemy is a poisonous rot of socialist policies. And America last sells out who are pompous, I can't even talk, Jesus. Pompous hypocrites that believe they are untouchable elites. Infighting, that's all I have to say. It's stupid infighting that's a waste of time and resources. The Congresswoman said she denounced the January 6th violent attack on the Capitol, really, and accused Democrats of trying to lie and blame Republicans for the violence. Ma'am, your own former commander-in-chief, Donald J. Trump, specifically said words that stirred up his audience to go down the street to the Capitol building and do what they did. There's video that surfaced that was taken from the back of that Save America event or whatever it was that Trump put on that same day. The riots happened at the Capitol building, and people were saying, storm the Capitol, while he was, basically telling them to do so. And that evidence will be brought to his trial. We'll see what happens. I don't think he's going to get convicted because they're not going to have 17 senators have the balls. 17 senators are not going to have the balls to do the right thing, which is sad. Green had helped promote Trump's false claims that the 2020 presidential election had been riddled with fraud and stolen from him. And on January 6th, she joined some of her Republicans colleagues in objecting to counting electoral votes. Ma'am, are you just agreeing with everything that Trump has said and done because he's such a rich and powerful man that you feel your future in politics depend on him? So you sound like the female version of Trump. And that's pretty sad because I respect people for having their own opinions. It sounds like your opinions are just like Trump and like you're like the spitting image, like the female version of Trump, in my opinion. That's just my opinion. Let me check out the chat real quick. Nothing happening over on Facebook. Let me see here. I'm not going to put that out there, but you said if you knew who I was, you would poop in your pants. Centers of the Century, I have a feeling you're J.B. Gunner. That's fine. If you're J.B. Gunner, you sound a lot like J.B. Gunner. That's fine. Not a big deal. So opening up your chat was a good decision. Look at the views you're getting. Call it diversity. His handlers are far left. Well, I waited for the right time to open up the chat, man. And, you know, I had a lot of things to fix behind the scenes. There's just a lot that I had to work on outside of YouTube. I had to talk to many, many people and make them aware of what's really been going on. And I think I did it at the right time. I appreciate that. Thank you. I appreciate that. Mutnuts World says our state positivity rate is down to 6.75%. It had been up around 16%, but now my state of Maryland has a positive case of the string. That's from Africa of the COVID and also the strain from the UK. Okay. Centers of the Century says he has already said that he will not be involved in that. Us true Trump supporters think Q are a bunch of sysops. Okay. Centers of the Century. I can't stand that dude. Oh, so you're not J.B. Gunner. You just step away, be right back, says Mutnuts World. All right, I got this, Mutt. Give me a second here. All right. I promise you that I'm not him. Hey, it wouldn't matter if you were him anyway, man. I'm over the past and I've moved forward from everything. And, I feel now because of the way things are in our government. I definitely learned a lot about how to better handle myself on YouTube. YouTube can be a bloodbath if you let it be a bloodbath, but you have to learn the YouTube ropes. And it seems like if you're going to be a successful YouTuber at some point, you got to go through all of the things that I went through. And it makes you stronger too, so I appreciate that. All right, let's continue here. On Saturday, CNN learned that House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy had canceled the Tuesday House GOP leadership meeting in advance of a meeting scheduled for Wednesday with all House Republicans amid the dust-up over Green's controversial comments and views. McCarthy's renewed loyalty to Trump. Yeah, that's pretty interesting, too. And questions about GOP conference chair Liz Cheney and the 9 other members of the Republican caucus who voted to impeach the former president. Well, I respect those Republicans that voted to impeach him because he deserved to be impeached. And, he deserves to be convicted for incitement of insurrection. But the rest of the Republicans in the Senate are more worried about their future in politics than what's best for the country, which is pretty sad because that makes you a horrible politician, in my opinion. That's just my opinion. McCarthy's spokesperson told CNN the leadership meeting slated for Tuesday afternoon was canceled because the Republican leader will be traveling back from an energy event in Houston. However, he offered no additional details for why it wasn't rescheduled. Okay? All right. Let's continue. A source familiar told CNN they believe one of the reasons McCarthy canceled the meeting is because he doesn't want to discuss green. Of course not. Of course not. It's a hot topic, right? It's just interesting to me. It's interesting to me. I think, if you want my honest opinion, this is just my opinion. He doesn't want to set off a female member of Congress. This is a very, very timid and very straightforward, in-your-face type of female. She's the type of woman that I would never date. She's the type of woman, in my opinion, that exudes more masculine energy than feminine energy. So I can understand why you wouldn't want to discuss her. I wouldn't even attempt to talk with her because it's useless. She's set in her ways like Trump. So when people are set in their ways, there's no flexibility. If there's no flexibility, what's the point? You're not going to make any difference, so why even try? Right? Why waste your time? Anyway. CNN previously reported that McCarthy plans to speak with the Congresswoman next week about her past comments and posts. Yeah, right. You're just saying that. Yeah, right. The cancellation of the leadership meeting comes at a critical time for House Republicans. No kidding. No kidding. I don't even need to read that again. This week, in the aftermath of the divisive fight to impeach Trump, McCarthy privately told his GOP colleagues to cut that crap out and stop attacking one another publicly, and instead focus on Democrats. That's ridiculous. Stop fighting amongst yourselves within your own party. Fight the other side, the Democrats, instead, where the Democrats don't want to fight you folks. They want to work together with you folks. Why can't you work together with the Democrats? All of you work together as Congress people, not as left versus right. What's the problem? God, our own Congress is creating further division in our country. McCarthy has previously said he supports Cheney, the number 3 Republican in leadership, but has also said he has concerns. McCarthy has not publicly addressed Green or Cheney since his visit with Trump at Mar-a-Lago in Florida, where the two discussed strategy for winning the House majority in next year's midterms, according to Trump's Save America Political Action Committee. Yeah. Is that the committee that he's trying to form the Patriot Party through? The Patriot Party. I mentioned that a few streams ago. It's comical to me. Trump started the office of the former president. He's now going to create the Patriot Party, right? While many House Republicans have remained silent on Greene's recent inflammatory comments and spreading of conspiracy theories, she hasn't escaped criticism from all members of her party, as she shouldn't. This is not about left versus right. This is about the principle of the matter. And those Republicans that feel what she's done is wrong are not judging her because of their political party choice or hers. They're basically making a statement that this is wrong regardless. This is just plain wrong, left or right, or down the middle. GOP Senator Mitt Romney, a frequent Trump critic, reacted to Greene's announcement of her call with the former president in a tweet of his own, saying that lies of a feather flock together. I can agree with that. They're like two peas in the pod. She's like the female version of Donald. Marjorie Taylor Greene's nonsense and the big lie of a stolen election, Greene swiftly responded to the Utah Republican by accusing him of not caring about people's concerns. Wow. Let me check out the chat real quick because we are going to be getting out of here really soon. Let's see. Nothing happening on Facebook. Wow. Let me see here real quick. American Dream 1.5. All we can do is move forward and learn from our past. I agree with you, bro. I agree with you, man. I respect the American dream, man, because even if we have a slight difference of opinion or a difference of opinion, we can respectfully disagree and learn from each other, man. I really appreciate that. Moonchild says, yep, if we don't learn from the past, we are doomed to repeat it. That's right. I always have learned from my mistakes, folks, and that's why I do what I do. I've made so many mistakes and I've learned from them. That's why I do the coaching. I want to help people. I want to help people understand things like that and like this. Centers of the century, let me say we have had our own history. Are you talking about you and I? American Dream 1.5 with the 99-cent super sticker. He says 100. Thank you, bro. God, man. You're making me laugh, American Dream 1.5. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. Centers of the Century says, trust me, they're both guilty of creating division. You're probably right. I'm not saying that the left has no part in creating division, but I think more of the division has come from the right. That's just my opinion. And I'm not just stating that because I'm slightly left. That's just what I've seen and felt. All right. Let's continue. We're almost done. Get your questions in, folks. I'll be going off the air in a few minutes. According to the growing tensions between the two parties in the aftermath of the deadly riot on Capitol Hill, fellow freshman Representative Cori Bush, a Missouri Democrat, announced Friday she will be moving her office away from Greens after a heated exchange with the GOP congresswoman earlier this month over mask wearing. Yeah, this woman, like, honestly, this is, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful, I'm just stating how I feel. This woman seems like a very extroverted woman with a lot more masculine energy than feminine energy. She seems like a woman that has no flexibility with any of her views. And it's all about her and nobody else. That is my opinion. If I was in the same situation, I would want to get as far away from someone like that as possible. I would not want to share an office or be anywhere near someone like that. It's just too much negativity. And at least 50 House Democrats have called for Green to be removed from Congress, with others demanding she be censured or face punishment after a number of her inflammatory comments came to light. I agree. I don't want someone in office that has either liked or responded to or made tweets or comments anywhere on the net talking about executing other Democrats. It's just not right. It's just not right. Democratic Representative Nikema Williams, another member of Georgia's congressional delegation, told CNN's Frederica Whitfield on Saturday that it is time for Green to be removed from Congress. I agree with that. Not because she's on the right, because of what she said. It's not right. It's just not right. We saw a direct attack on the United States Capitol because of the rhetoric and incitement of violence she continues to do, says Williams, who is a co-sponsor of a bill to censure Green. Okay. Still, expelling a member from Congress requires 2/3 of the chamber to vote to remove that person. Republicans control just under half of the seats in the House, and GOP leadership has so far shown no steps towards reprimanding Green for her comments or previous posts. Same thing with Trump. That's why Trump's going to get away with what he did, because they're not going to get enough members of the Senate on the right to convict him. Anyway. All right, folks. That is that. We are at 2 hours and 44 minutes. I'm going to switch back to full screen. One of the longest shows I've done in a while, and I really thoroughly enjoyed this show. Let me check out the chat one more time. Centers of the century. Yes, you and I. Great chat tonight. We will have to do it again. Moonchild says, welcome back. I don't know if you're talking to Mutt. I think you are. Mutt says, thank you, Moon. And that is that. All right, folks. I may or may not be back tomorrow for a stream. Not quite sure. But I'm going to take the rest of the night off. And if people reach out to me between tonight and tomorrow, I may not get back to people until Monday. I just kind of want to relax. I mean, I may be back for a short stream tomorrow. It'll be nothing like this. But if not, I'll see you folks back here on Monday. I want to thank everyone for being here today. Thank you to Nuts World. Thank you to Moonchild. Thank you to Centuries of the Century. Thank you to American Dream 1.5 for all your super chats and your comments. You're amazing. Thank you to Furious Reactor Gaming and anyone else that was here today that I left out. With that being said, and I wonder, where's Louis Fuller been lately? Mutton's World says, we'll catch up with everyone later. Have a good night, says Moonchild. Centers of the Century. Impeaching Trump is a huge waste of our tax dollars. They know they can't convict, but yet will still waste all our money. He needs to be convicted, but he probably won't. He won't. And I've mentioned it many times on why I feel he won't. I won't mention it again. You folks can go back and watch the replay, and I mentioned it throughout the course of the show. With that being said, have yourselves a great night, and I'll see you all next time. Take care. Bye. Bye.